Sunday Sound Off with Frank Boal.
Welcome back to Sunday Sound Off, our first hot topic of the night. Can the Royals bullpen handle the load for the rest of the season? Got to get those starters go a little bit deeper. Tim, we're going to start with you, the former catcher from high school. Go ahead.
That's exactly right. I think especially in the bottom of the rotation, you got to get some good innings. I love the signing of Ian Kennedy. First of all, he's had a great start, but the reality is he does chew up a lot of innings and does a great job of getting late into the game. But as of right now, it seems to me that, especially with Young and Medlin, they've been struggling to get innings. Young had a decent outing last time, but that's not going to be as consistent. So you really have got to get your starters into the 6th or 7th inning consistently. If they could do that, then I think they can keep this rotation or keep this bullpen healthy. But that's going to be a tough deal to have.
Blair, some people look at, hey, it's only April. What's everybody worried about? Looks okay. Young came back. Medlin had a rough outing. Ventura did pretty well today. What are your thoughts?
Well, and they're going to need more 7- and 8-inning performances from starters as the year goes on. As for the bullpen, Kelvin Herrera is the only one that I really think about now in terms of workload. I think everybody else is on a pace for anywhere between 65 and 75 appearances, but Herrera's on a pace for somewhere in the upper 90s right now. I thought today was an ideal time for him not to pitch. The Royals, Ned Yost had him up in the 7th inning, ended up bringing him in a 6-1 game, probably not the right spot for Kelvin Herrera. But Yost had him up, and he was already warmed up, so they brought him in. I thought a day like today would have been a good day for Joakim Soria to pitch the 8th and then Duffy the 9th.
Yeah, and, so when we talk about this, Ned Yost has the philosophy, if I'm going to get a guy up and warm him up, okay, he's going to come in and pitch. I don't care really what happened in the game.
And I think that's one of the big keys here is how Ned Yost does use that bullpen. I think he's unique. I think he's the best in the game at handling the bullpen because he doesn't waste guys and throw extra pitches on them by warming them up and then not pitching them. That's the little hidden part of the game that the stat guys don't see in the box score from reading it, 2 time zones away. And that is where Ned's better than anyone else. I think the key to this question is, do they need to or do they have to? Or maybe it's want to or have to. Do you want to get less innings on the bullpen? Yes, we certainly want more from the starting pitcher. Do you have to? I don't think we know. Their innings went up last year, and they were able to handle it. I don't know where that wall is. They haven't hit it yet. You'd like to stay away from it and not try to find it. But I think right now Ned's as good as anybody at trying to spread that workload around.
All right, here's our second hot topic of the evening, and, of course, concerns the Chiefs draft. In their first-round draft choice, offense, defense, or trade it for more picks? What do you think there, Blair?
Well, what I think will happen and what I think should happen, 2 different things. I think they're going to go defense, and the Chiefs in this regime with John Dorsey and Andy Reid, they tend to their first pick tends to be not an immediate need pick, but a need down the road pick. And but I think maybe this time they go for the immediate need and go cornerback. Which one? Is it William Jackson III of Houston? Is it Mackenzie Alexander of Clemson? Is it Eli Apple of Ohio State? Will any or all of those guys be available at 28? We'll have to see. But I do think they're going to go defense.
Soren?
Well, I do believe in the best player available philosophy. I think it's a good one. I think you fill your roster to where you can take the field before you ever get to the draft. And then if you're taking the best player available, you actually have the best chance of succeeding with the pick. That being said, out of our 3 options, I say trade down. The Chiefs squandered away their 3rd-round pick. And I think this is a draft that there's going to be a lot of talent in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I think if you can peel back and pick up some more draft picks for this team, I think you're going to be in a good spot because I think there is a depth at D-tackle, at offensive tackle, at corner, and I think one of those guys, there'll be talent there later in the 2nd round. So if you can roll back and pick up some draft picks, I think that's the way to do it.
Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both what both guys said. That, when you look at this draft, I think they have a few guys in mind. If they're there at that pick, they'll take them. If they're not there, then they will go ahead and trade down and get some more picks because of the collusion issue they had. If the guy that they want, maybe Apple, maybe the Dodd kid from Clemson, I think they're going to go defense. It'd be great to see him actually draft a quarterback. Last time was Todd Blackledge, so maybe Paxson from Memphis. But no, I think they have a couple guys in mind. If they're not there, they're going to go ahead and trade that down. But right there in the front of the list is going to be a cornerback. I agree with Blair.
All right, not bad. Thanks, guys. And our final hot topic, what does John Curry's contract signify for Kansas State athletics? Now, the reason we ask this question is because There's a little controversy swirling out there in Manhattan with John Currie. Great fundraiser, but he doesn't seem to get along with any of the coaches. And they're his guys. I mean, he didn't hire them, but I'm just saying, like especially a Bill Snyder. Saran, what do you think?
I think it's puzzling. Schultz, the president's leaving, and he throws this extension on his way out the door. 2 more years. I mean, we don't know the details of it. Is it guaranteed money, or is it really just kind of an in-name only extension? Look, he was already signed through 2020. He had a basketball team that hadn't been in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years, and a football team that's teetering on the bridge of mediocrity here, and has a very big hire coming sometime soon as to who's going to be the replacement for Bill Snyder. So I think this one's real puzzling. I'm not sure what it means, and I don't know that it'll mean anything once we get a new president in there who may take a look and say, look, I've got an unhappy fan base, a basketball team that's not winning, and a big coaching hire to make. I'm not going to let this guy be the one to make that hire.
And Tim, you're a former Big 12 coach at the University of Kansas. How important is that AD and his ability to get along with the coaches?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to get along with the coaches, but I think more important than that is to get along with the alumni. And right now the money is flowing into K-State. The facilities that they're building around the football stadium, everywhere else in the athletic department is unbelievable. You walk through the Schneider Family Center, and it's a Taj Mahal for college football. So, there's a lot of money coming in. There's a lot of alumni that like him. There's a lot of alumni that are willing to write that big check to him. And that's what it comes down to. One of the things that Kansas are trying to do is they're trying to find that way to bring the alumni money in so they can work on Memorial Stadium. Well, guess what? K-State's got to figure it out already, and one of the reasons is because of their AD.
Yeah, really, I think this also sort of sets aside the fact, Blair, that Bill Snyder will be able to name his successor sort of thing at this point. I think it's going to be John Currie's decision.
Well, especially if John Currie, works to the end of his contract, which is 2022.
Right.
It was a two-year extension. Look, the whole, I guess, if there's any ill feeling toward John Currie, it's because of the basketball situation. It was the way he handled the Frank Martin. Frank Martin left because he disagreed with John Currie over the suspension of a player at the NCAA tournament. Hired Bruce Weber, which wasn't the most popular hire at the time, although I think Weber has been to 2 NCAA tournaments and won a co-Big 12 championship. I think some of the displeasure with Currie is misplaced over this most recent news of Oklahoma State hiring Brad Underwood, the Kansas native, former K-State coach. There's no indication that Brad Underwood would have come to Kansas State even if there was an opening. So I think that's misplaced. I don't mind. I think this is actually a good move for Kansas State. It shows stability, and they're retaining an athletic official who has shown an incredible penchant for raising money and getting facilities built at Kansas State.
It's all about money, boys. Up next, we're going to get some final thoughts from the panel. It's their time to sound off on anything that's on their minds. You're watching Sunday Sound Off.